Morning.
Good morning. This is what you do behind the scenes?
It is what I do behind the scenes, but you know what happens is, so yes, you don't usually see this part.
No, I do. I'm just the dancing monkey.
So what happens is when I'm playing the video, and I only have, as you know, like you just saw it, like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And I just double check that everything's working okay on the different places that we're streaming. So Facebook, when you click play, Facebook, when you sort of try to go out of it, it minimizes it in the corner and continues to play. So it's like, no, don't go, continue to watch. So I kept hearing the music and I was wondering where it was coming from.
Oh, okay.
It was in the corner on Facebook.
So I don't get to see this. And, I don't, back in the old days before I had a partner, I did all this stuff and now I don't have to. And here's the secret, guys. If you can get somebody as a partner to do it. So yesterday I'm writing all this copy on these pages and it's tiring, but it takes, and then I'm like, I get to the bottom of the page and I look at Stacy and go, and you get to connect it all.
But that's okay because I enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
Right. But I guess from a tech advice perspective, I was trying to figure something out on the back end.
This is a good story.
I don't like when she starts to laugh right away. So I'm trying to connect something so I'm in the back end of this particular program and I'm trying to fix something. I couldn't figure it out. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm like Googling it. Like, I'm not like, you start to question yourself. You're like,
yeah,
well, it doesn't look like this on other people's. So what am I missing? And I kept going back and forth. And at the end, I found out that you should probably see what it looks like on the front end. So as soon as I did, and I usually do that, but in this particular case, I was sort of dived probably way too far deep into the back end, figuring out how it works, figuring where all the settings are, all that kind of stuff. I couldn't change it. And I literally sent her a text and went, oh my God.
That's why they put this big button called preview on.
Oh, is that why? Anyway, click preview. Always look and see what it looks like from a customer perspective, because the particular verbiage that they had on the back end, which typically it's WYSIWYG, right? Yeah. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, they actually outline it separately so that when you're on the back end, you can keep track of stuff.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
Very smart, but it never occurred to me that it didn't translate over to the front end. So anyway. No, I have nothing else to say.
So we're in the studio together. Yay.
But the best part is that we are on stools. We're not standing. So I can actually sit back and
and we have a standing desk,
which is great.
So our laptop isn't on 15 books.
Yeah, this is a much better setup now. We're getting there, and it was very easy to be able to just grab the coffee, come and sit, and ready to go.
Little spoiled, but after 20 years of doing this,
I feel like we but the thing is that if you have a setup, again, we've had to make a lot of things over the past year, trying to figure different things here. But if you have a part of your house or wherever you are,
even a corner,
which is what you have at your house, you can just slide in and go live or slide in and do a video. Like if you don't have to spend that much time doing setup, don't.
So the key is, for me, if I was going to give anybody a recommendation, I have, and Stacy has too, especially here up north, because I didn't have my office. I spent more time piling books up to put the laptop on, get it at the right height, get the camera. So it was time consuming. So I got this stand-up desk. It has a crank. It's not electronic, and you don't want electronic because they break. So just get an old crank desk. It was like $300 on Amazon, $350 or something like that. But now it's just here.
Which is great.
And it's at the right height. And so when you got an idea to do something, you can just boom, as Stacy said, go and do it, as opposed to, because in your brain, you'll be going, oh, do I really want to go pile up books, do all this stuff?
Well, it was funny because we were literally just about to go on. I went, I wish the table was a little bit higher. And then she goes, there's a crank. And I went, oh, a crank. It's like those old car windows from
which
the
means
70s,
it'll
80s.
never break.
So I brought it up, and that it's exactly the height that we needed it to be.
Yeah.
So
So next is a big screen, and then we're all set in here.
exactly.
Yeah, so we're getting there. But anyways, let's talk about fun this week.
Yeah.
I don't think it was fun, but I was sitting.
Interesting.
I was sitting like most of you watching the Oscars, and I was on my couch in my cottage and watching it by myself. And and it was boring. It was a boring show.
It really was, for the most part. I mean, I
And-
enjoy watching the beginning part with the red carpet, and I like
Yeah.
to see what people look like now. And I didn't see a lot of the movies
No.
that were up for Best Picture. So
I did. So I saw Coda anyway, and I loved it I saw it on day one on Apple. So I
You have to
was
watch that.
cheering for them the whole time. But anyways, and then, the infamous occurred, right? So, and when it happened, when Will Smith went up and hit Chris Rock, I literally, like, for about 10 seconds, I just sat there and I was like, that didn't really happen. And then I texted Stacy and I texted my daughter, and I just was like, oh my God.
Did you just see that?
Like, it was insane.
Mhm.
And so there's been a lot happening over the last couple of days, people talking about it. And then, the fact that Will Smith was allowed to stay in the audience after that. There was no,
and receive his best actor award.
and then his crazy ass speech when he
That was
actually
weird,
won.
yeah.
And it was fascinating to hear everyone's take. I mean, at the end of the day, the one thing everyone across the board agrees with is violence is not the answer, right?
Exactly.
And there's no one on the earth that would say that what he did was justified.
Except his son,
Yeah, except his son,
which is unfortunate.
yeah, which is very sad, because that's not like, if his son, I don't care if it's your dad or whoever, but if you saw the Williams sisters, for example, saw how nervous they did not like what was going on.
Well, and it was really bad because, of course, during his speech he referenced their father,
Yeah,
which was not okay.
and said he was
protecting,
and then
family,
you
yeah.
saw the dad just had one line, and he said something to the effect of violence is not the answer. Like,
Yeah.
he was disgusted because,
Yeah.
Will Smith took away from what could have been this phenomenal piece that, celebrated, and he took away from that. So what's interesting for me is two things in that whole thing that happened. One is the fact that he got to stay in the audience. And if it was, we talked about, if it was Amy Schumer who said that joke, he's not going to go hit a girl. Right.
Well, and they were, and in all fairness, I mean, the three hosts, three women hosts, I thought they did a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Yeah.
But you know what? In the beginning of that show, they were cutting people down.
Yeah.
They were, pointing to different things of people in the audience. So I think that just, to me, kind of par in the course of that particular award show.
Yeah. So I mean, that part really bothered me, because, as we said, if it was a female up there, he would have been hauled off. If it was Jerry Seinfeld up there, he would have been hauled off. It just depends. And for some reason, they thought that was okay. And listen, I think Chris Rock is one of the most talented comedians out there. I mean, he is brilliant. I've heard he's one of the nicest guys too that you could ever come across. So you don't like his humor, your problem. I get it. And don't start yelling at us and saying, well, he said an inappropriate joke. You know what? It wasn't aimed the way everyone took it. And I, as I was sitting there, as the days go by, I was thinking, well, if it was me and the joke was named, I would just kind of laugh it off and go, you know what? Regardless, that's, it was, good or bad, I don't like it or not. It's a joke. It's like Don Rickles, back in the days. Don Rickles was like mean,
Relentless.
but funny as shit.
Relentless.
So,
but again, I will give Chris Rock an incredible amount of kudos, because he handled that so professionally, so well. He kept his composure. I mean, he just literally, like, can you just imagine his situation, right? He's literally on stage. Someone gets up and hits him, and he needs to continue with the show. So that shows such an incredible amount of composure.
And you could tell he was, you could tell he was shocked. And
for sure.
But I mean, I love him more now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, he's actually playing in June. I found it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so maybe we have to go. So that number one is, I don't understand how. To me, it was assault. I don't understand how everyone sat there. I hated the celebs in the audience. I wish somebody would listen to us that was in the audience, because how dare you sit there and like pretend and applaud him? Like, if you saw that, if anyone else had done that other than an A-list celebrity, you would not be applauding this person, afterwards, or you would do something about it. And these woke celebrities who sit there, go up on stage and talk about all the causes that they support, and then something like this happens, and what do you look the other way? Like,
it didn't make any sense.
Weird. So that was first of all, that was crazy. Number two, which is more relatable to you and me, is like your whole career, everything you stood for in 1 second.
Your life can change.
So, everything, you think about it, everything you've done over the last couple of years, and you say do something really horrible on camera, on video. So
in front of about 10 billion people.
So even if you're doing a video right now for your social media and it's somehow harmful, it's harmful to someone, you can just get canceled. Now, Will Smith gonna get canceled? No.
However, you pointed out that somebody found a clip from many years ago, and again proving that everything lives on the internet and nothing ever dies.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it was a million years ago or something.
Yeah, it was on their Arsenio Hall show. He was a guest and he was making fun of one of the band leaders that was bald. And he was doing all these bald jokes about waxing his head and all this stuff. And I'd read later that the guy had didn't have alopecia or anything, but he had thinning hair and he started losing his hair, so he shaved it, which is what
most people would do.
And a lot of people, when they shave it, it's not because they want to, it's because they don't have a choice, right? So it was interesting that that was okay. I know it was 20 years ago, but that was okay when Will Smith said it.
But somebody found it.
Yeah.
At the right moment.
That's
so
right.
So be careful.
Be careful what you say. Yeah. So there's a big societal lesson, obviously, that, how anyone can condone violence and how the Academy members could just sit there and, let him.
Let's go on with the show. But I guess the biggest issue that I have is how that particular incident overshadowed some of the other amazing things that happened.
Absolutely.
Like there was a lot of causes that were brought to light. There was lots of really important issues that were being talked about. There was an incredibly sweet moment between Lady Gaga and Liza Minnelli that was just brought tears, right? When you look, and because Liza Minnelli was very confused because of her Alzheimer's and she was trying to figure things out. And Lady Gaga literally leans down and says, "I got you."
Yeah.
And she goes, "I know you do. Thank you." And that was just such an amazing moment. That's what we should be talking about. But unfortunately, Will Smith took that away.
Yeah. And you don't even remember who did Chris Rock give the award out to?
No idea.
Yeah. See, because everyone was in shock. So that poor person.
And they stopped paying attention and they were on Twitter and trying to figure things out. So you're right. That person should be highlighted.
Yeah. And I will say, then Will Smith put a big, a publicist apology on his as I said Canva because on his Instagram, because it was pointed out yesterday, it was very Canva looking, like it wasn't like when some people post notes, they actually like put it in notes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It was very like Canva-ish.
Gonna make it look pretty.
So,
apologies.
And I think he's gonna have to embark on an apology tour. So he's probably going to have to.
Well, I hope he apologized to the Williams sisters.
Yes. Apologize to everybody. Yeah. And I mean, he kind of apologized to Chris Rock, but again, it was a publicist. Yeah. But we haven't heard from Chris Rock, which to me shows a lot of integrity. I hope he just comes out and is the person he is, Chris Rock, which is, a really nice guy. So I'm sure, I read that his lip was split, that everyone heard it. So it was bad, right? But he hasn't said anything. Now all the comedians are coming out and supporting him, which is great. Yeah. And obviously most of the world, if you actually can justify Will Smith's actions, then you must be crazy.
It wasn't okay. No. It wasn't okay in the moment. I understand wanting to defend, your wife, but there was 1,000 million different ways.
Well, one of the best I thought was most people said, which was right. They said, wait. Have it added after the show, speak about it, figure it out. But one person said he could have just went up and grabbed the mic and spoke. He didn't have to hit him.
No,
he had
and
the stage.
it's and all eyes were on him.
Yeah.
And he could have taken his moment to go, well, actually, here's some information about Appalachia.
Yeah, and that's it. And he could have
Is that how you
just
say it? I don't know how to say it.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, sorry.
And he could have just literally done exactly what he did, go up on the stage. But and then the other piece too was like he laughed at the joke at first.
Well, exactly, but it was it's interesting. So I always look at the production side because it's fun for me. So I thought it was very interesting because what we don't realize when watching live shows is that there's a 10-second delay, or a 5-second delay, and they do that on purpose, for mishaps, swearing, anything that sort of occurs. They can act extremely quickly because they only have seconds. So as soon as that happened, the North American feed bleeped out. So you didn't actually, you could read his lips, so you knew what he said, but you didn't hear the audio because, again, it's not truly live. Like we are truly live. We're not delayed in any way, but it is delayed.
Maybe in our brain.
Exactly. So, but it wasn't, there's that little bit of time that they just delay the feed so that they have time to react. In Australia, they did not.
No, and in Japan.
So they don't have the time delay. So I find that extremely interesting. So what happened was, of course, Twitter just went like from a social.
That's why we love Twitter. We always say it. Insane. We love Twitter.
Like, where else are you going to go? You're going to go directly you're not going to go to Facebook. You're not going to go to Instagram. Like my kids went to TikTok. Because somebody would show the feed and somebody's live and stream. Everyone's always doing that. But I went immediately to Twitter, started looking for things. But within seconds, the Australian feed was posted for everyone to see. So again, the 5-second delay on North America, it was muted out. Probably within 10 seconds after that, the Australian feed was already posted.
It was right away, immediate.
Like, I'm fascinated by
what
that.
I loved about the Australian feed was there was a guy filming his TV, right? Because you could see when he zoomed in, he was filming his TV. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so the first little clip of he was literally watching and he was like, holy, and he was like he just happened to be filming it and then he zoomed in.
Oh, I didn't even notice it was on his TV. I was so fascinated by what happened. I didn't even look at that part. But then I just became fascinated with the process that, again, North American feed, we must mute it out.
Yeah.
Japan, Australia, we don't do that. It's live.
Yeah.
And again, within like 15 seconds, it was bleeped out. It was already on the internet. It was already on Twitter, and everybody was watching the feed so there was almost no point.
Right.
There was no point of bleeping it out because the next day or even within 10 seconds, you knew exactly what had happened.
Well, I think, and that's why, unfortunately, whoever won after that, nobody paid attention to, because you were watching this feed on Twitter. Because, like, for me, as I said, the first thing I did is I texted these guys, and I was like you couldn't believe it happened. Yeah,
did that actually
happen? So it was
happen?
so you were on Twitter going, did that, like everyone in the world at the same time was like, that didn't really happen.
Well, there was a lot of people who thought it was staged.
Yeah, but you could tell it wasn't.
No, you could tell them. You could tell there, but that's your first reaction, right? Because it's just such an extreme thing to happen. You're like, it can't possibly be.
Yeah, like this
not staged.
So
it's
Will
Smith,
he's like I think probably the most well-known person in the world. Like I cannot name another actor, celebrity that is more well-known than Will Smith. He's A list, right? Absolutely. A+++. Everybody knows him. He's always been, the nice guy, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's why it was so unbelievable. If it was somebody, some sound engineer.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody would know.
And there was a lot of memes that were on. I think the worst thing I saw was actually a local to the GTA person in marketing. I didn't tell you the story.
No.
He took the image of, because there's lots of memes out there,
yeah,
right? That it's that one like split second where it was like the Batman and Robin, that moment. He took that image, posted it, and said, "This is how I react to people who ask me to do my services for free." Like almost making his own meme about it. And I'm like, this was the next morning, and I'm like, I'm not sure that that's appropriate.
It's not appropriate. It just makes me laugh. It's not appropriate, and it wouldn't be something I would say, because again, you're saying, like, I know it's a joke. So again, I take it as a joke. So I'm okay.
No, absolutely. But
Not appropriate.
not at that time. Like, it
No.
hasn't turned into that yet. And I'm like, I guess what I felt from this particular person was that he was trying to monopolize
Yes.
on this particular situation because everyone's paying attention to that image.
Right.
So he took it and used it to his own benefit.
Right.
And to me, that just made me feel, I just didn't like that.
I agree. And
Yeah.
and if
I know
saw
it's a joke. Yeah.
if I saw it, it would make me feel what the opposite of what he's trying to do, because I would be like, well, you know, again, you're saying that you would hit somebody that asks you that, because that's essentially what you're implying.
Yeah. And
right?
I just like, and I know him and
But
I've
it's
had
funny.
conversations with him, and like, I see what he was trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And he's a really nice, genuine person. That was not,
Right.
that wasn't cool in the moment.
But
to
that
do
it's
that.
it was a great example, because again, you're saying and we completely agree, not cool.
Yeah.
It would probably go the opposite of what he's trying to do, but it did make me laugh. It was a joke. I don't take it seriously.
Right.
Right. It's a joke. So people need to like get over it. And when you listen to comedians talk about all this stuff, is like, you know, the world has got so that you're not allowed to laugh and
or joke around with
Yeah.
anybody. Like, if you've got friends, they make fun of you
yeah.
relentlessly. But if you can't laugh at yourself,
Yeah.
like, you know,
It's-
I would have, yeah.
You just have to get over it, guys. And again, you guys are going to say, oh, she had a medical condition. Wasn't the point. It was a G.I. Jane joke. That's all it was.
And to me, that was flattering.
yeah.
G.I. Jane rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see Demi Moore in that? Holy cow. I'm like, I would love to have her, like, Demi Moore's body in that. Like, to me, that was a compliment.
Yeah.
Like, G.I. Jane was.
So I was
Jane.
taking it kind of like, I was looking, going, okay, so I've had a lot of crap in my life, a lot. And those of you who know me know it all. And I was sitting there going, I literally sat there and I thought, okay, if somebody's on stage and they made a joke about my situation, would it bother me? You know what? It wouldn't. And I have a really serious thing. And you know, would it bother the person that is part of it? No, because we would take it as, you know what? It's funny because I make fun of my situation, and it's not good. It's not like I made fun of it yesterday, right? Last night we had a girlfriend over and we were talking about it. And we were talking about some very dark jokes, and we were doing it ourselves. So I think it just depends on, you know, you got to be like, enough already.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Even, again, people who are growing up and stuff like that, and our world of political correctness, and we don't want to offend anybody. It's becoming harder and harder.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, and you don't know people's situations. So absolutely, you're trying to be very sensitive, which we are. We think about it a lot when we're doing copy for websites or social media and stuff like that. Are we saying things correctly? You know, because we don't want to offend. And what does that look like? On the other side, we do need to be able to make fun of ourselves.
Yeah.
And if somebody, but I think, you know, there's that understanding, I guess, how far you can go with the joke.
Yeah, I don't think I think it was a very mild joke.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that funny.
Even though Chris Rock is funny.
Even though we love Chris Rock. So, I mean, I think,
but anyway,
at the end of the day, Chris Rock will probably do way better now, as he's already like top 3 comedians. But
I was, like I said, for me, it was just the way he handled that was amazing. So well done. Well done, Chris Rock.
Enough about the Oscars.
Enough about the Oscars. Exactly. So we were living in Techland yesterday. We're doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So there was a post that we've been a little bit, I don't know what word to use, but we've been not exactly very visible.
Hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. I like that. Yeah, that's right. So we put a post out that things are brewing.
Yep.
In Mastermind City. So we've been working very diligently, many hours.
Yeah, too many.
Of trying to just get things ready. So Mastermind City itself is still exactly what it was. We're focusing very deeply focused on what we do best, which is to help find visibility. We've just decided that there were some things on the back end that we wanted to do a little bit differently. And the good thing is once you sort of set all of that up, and we've been spending a lot of time doing it. Yeah. But you are going to benefit from that. Yeah. Because we have, sort of figured something out
Yeah.
that isn't in plain sight. Which is really good. So we're very excited
We're
about
almost
that.
there. And we talked about it last week. We're almost there. We were hoping to be there today. But we have a few more things to do. So our drop date is at the end of the weekend. We'll be able to get it out, at least our first venue. And what we're going to talk about next week is a couple of new tech pieces that we're using. So that you can see if you like them and maybe use them for your clients, your service, your business. There's a lot of opportunities to use them. They're really great. We don't own them. We don't sell them.
And not even an affiliate, but it's just such like, we found it. It's like, again, there's these hidden gems out there in the online world that just make life so much easier for your client. And do you have to go down that road? Not necessarily, but there's ways that have been done.
Yeah.
And this, like, oh my goodness, like, just is a game changer in my brain, because it's just such an incredible way to help your clients even more. And if that's our purpose, which it usually is, let's not make it super difficult for them to engage with your stuff and use your content.
Yeah. And so, and I know a lot of you are probably going, well, look, it's taken you guys like a month. It's taken us a month because we're trialing it out, figuring it out, getting all the pieces together. But when we give it to you, you'll be able to go, oh, okay, I can get this done in like literally, an hour, because we're going to give you all the steps, and we might even do some live training on some of the stuff we're going to do. So it's great. And we really enjoy this piece, but we haven't stopped anything. We're still doing our coaching, our brand jumpstart, our 1-day masterminds, our 1-day coach. We're doing all of this. We're still interacting with all our clients, but we're also trying to give everyone something on the back end that they would be like, oh, okay, I can do this. This might be really cool for me.
Exactly. And then we're also, I may take things a little bit too far. I go down rabbit holes a little bit too far. Yeah. That's okay.
And the truth is you can do it quickly, or you can just do a little bit more work and get it to exactly where you want. And sometimes when you do a little more, it's easier in the long run, right? You do more up front, and then the long run is just like easy to go ahead and dupe, or go ahead and run again, or whatever you want to do. But, if you take the shortcut, then you end up having to go and fix it. And we don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that. We want to, it's better to do it right in the beginning. And then once we figured out sort of all the steps, then we can show you very easily, and you go, oh, I just do this, this, and this.
Right.
Which is exactly what we want. And that's the part that we love, right? Like, we love learning these things so we can give you a very simple solution that's literally just plug and play, so that you can take advantage of our invested time. But this is our fun part.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, we will see you next week. I got to get back to it.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Thanks.